Okay, Chiefs, Eagles, Super Bowl preview here. Today we're going to be talking about Saquon Barkley and how I think he could go up against this Chiefs defense, which obviously, when you're playing the Eagles, you got to worry about the MVP candidate, Saquon Barkley. So let's get into it. How can the Chiefs handle this? Well, the Chiefs actually do stop the run very well, especially when they're making an effort to say, okay, we're going to stop the run right here. They can do it very effectively. So this play, it is going to be, it's Bucky Irving of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a very, very good season this year. I know he's not Saquon Barkley, but again, they didn't play Saquon Barkley this year, so I got to take what I can get. You're going to see on this play, really, I think the first thing is just how consistently these Chiefs defenders win their matchups one-on-ones. You see where Bucky Irving is on this play. Where does he want to run? There is no one really getting moved out of the way. The Chiefs have a lot of big bodies, and when they're playing run defense, sometimes they get fooled and play pass rush and then get out of position that way. But when they're ready for a run stop, and they're in these positions, they very consistently win. Bucky Irving of the Buccaneers doesn't really have anywhere to go. Justin Reed, the safety, brings him down. I mean, that's a part of it, right? You have unblocked players. They have to run up and make a tackle. They are able to do that. So this is definitely something we've seen the Chiefs successfully do. And even a play like this is another, I think, interesting one where what's going to happen here is it's going to be a run to the offense's left. You see, it's the guy who I've circled in white who is unblocked on this play is edge rusher George Karlaftis. Mayfield takes a snap, gives it to Irving, who right here you see Karlaftis once again getting over to be in position, and there really isn't a hole for Irving to run through towards his left. Usually that's what you would want to do, is just run past the unblocked edge rusher. You can't block everybody. Sometimes you just leave the edge rusher unblocked to get through. Here, though, there just isn't enough of a crease. Irving, again, does what he can, finds a way to pick up 4 yards on that play. That's pretty well done by him, but ultimately, in these situations where their bodies are all so close, Saquon Barkley's at his best when he has space, right? When he can make guys miss. He's stylistically similar to Bucky Irving, just a better player. If you can bottle him up, that's going to be a big advantage, and that's what you hope that can happen. What I find interesting, though, is that this does require attention for the Chiefs, right? They have to really be making an effort to stop the run. The Eagles and Nick Sirianni will kind of just mess with you sometimes if that's what you're doing. Like this play, for example, you see they don't have anyone in the backfield. This is on the first play from scrimmage. Usually that first play, when you have a good run defense and a good rushing attack, there's kind of just almost like this ego thing of like the defense says we're going to stop the run. The offense says we're not going to let you stop the run. We're going to show you what you can do. We've seen that happen time and time again, especially in a big game. The Eagles came out in 5 wide. They said, we're not even thinking about running the ball here. They didn't even try a play action, because sometimes you'll get that too. They didn't even try that. And you see, it works out. I think Steelers were surprised by this, and because of this, they're able to pick up a big completion right there. So don't think necessarily that the running game has to impact only the running game. You're going to run play actions. You're going to do something like this where the personnel is that where the Steelers are trying to stop the run. Turns out it's not a running play. You're going to get that with the Eagles. They are a well-coached team, despite what some people will tell you. However, I wanted to watch some Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh tape because the Steelers were one of the teams that really bottled up Saquon Barkley in this game. Like, he had a couple nice runs, but they were able to do some nice things and slow him down a lot in this game. How were they able to do it? Well, the one thing you can try and do is kind of what I talked about with the Chiefs. Send everyone in, make sure that there's not really a clear way for him to run, and then whoever's in position to make a tackle can make the tackle. The other thing is, you can have a player make a play. I mean, that's what's going to happen right here on this one. This is actually not Cameron Hayward, which usually he's the guy who's making the plays, but no, this is Keanu Benton who's going to make this play. Watch as he gets around the center, gets to Saquon Barkley, who Barkley actually does a good job of making him miss, but then you have other players who can rally now and make the tackle because everyone's understanding their assignment, right? Because that's the other thing, is you can't get too excited, go outside your where you're supposed to be, because then Barkley will notice it and run past you. But the Steelers do a very good job of that, as do the Kansas City Chiefs in the running game. So if someone can make a play, that's how you can slow down the running game as well. And of course, when thinking about this, I mean, Chris Jones, known for being a pass rusher, but he can make these types of plays as well. That can be a way to slow you down. And again, going up against Saquon Barkley, it's okay if you give up a first down and then you get on the next first down, you get a stop for, they lose a yard. That's actually an all right situation to be in, because then they don't know if they want to run the ball again. If they do, you're setting up a third down and, probably an obvious passing situation. So that's kind of what you have to do. Then there's the other side of things, which is going to be a play like this. This was the first play from scrimmage against the Washington Commanders. Obviously, it got a lot of talk because of how it set the tone for the Philadelphia Eagles, but let's talk about it. So Jalen Hurts is going to flip the ball to Saquon Barkley, and you see the Eagles are able to block very well, get him to that next level. Listen, I'm not going to say that Barkley's going to have this much space, in the Super Bowl, because he's probably not. Washington did not stop the run well, all season. Of course, they didn't stop the run well the 3 times they played Saquon Barkley. However, you have to assume, if you're a Chiefs fan, there's going to be some of these moments where defensive backs have to run up and make a tackle on Saquon Barkley. Doesn't mean it's going to happen all the time, but there are some moments. And you can live with giving up a 13-yard run here and there. You can live with that. You don't want to be giving up the 60-yard runs. Here, Saquon Barkley makes both of these defensive backs miss and jukes out another. He gets into the end zone for a touchdown. Like, at the end of the day, the Eagles have a great offensive line. They just do, and they're going to block you out of the way sometimes. You just have to deal with that. You have to know going in that's something that's going to happen. But what you have to make sure you do is don't give up these long rushes, because that just completely changes things. If they get a 60-yard touchdown, I mean, that's just, that's 7 points. That's a really big deal. So how are the Kansas City Chiefs secondary players at making tackles? Well, actually, this is an interesting play to talk about, but I recently even brought up how I like how physical the Kansas City Chiefs secondary is in a video I made about why the Chiefs stopped the tush push so effectively. Yeah, I mean, they have players who will come in and make tackles. Watch, you see that Baker Mayfield takes the snap, kind of surprised him with the snap, but Tampa Bay did what you expect Philadelphia to be able to do at times. They're able to block the defensive lineman out of the way. Now you have a defensive back trying to make a tackle. This is Trent McDuffie. He was an all-pro defensive back, but again, a lot of times when you're an all-pro corner, you're there for your coverage. McDuffie, he's known for his coverage, right? But the thing about the Chiefs defensive backs is no one's making business decisions out there. I don't think the Commanders were either. I think they just screwed up. But here, McDuffie's going to make this tackle, and Bucky Irving gains 8 yards. Hey, that's a great run for Tampa Bay, right? But it's not a 60-yard touchdown. And that's what you have to make sure that you avoid. Saquon Barkley is a different animal. He's one of one in open space like that, right? In fact, he might be the best once you get to the next level. Derrick Henry is I don't know, him or Derrick Henry. Those two guys are both great. But obviously, the first thing you want to do is not let him get to that next level. They're going to make sure that they can do what they can there. But once you get to that next level, you have to be able to make those tackles. So, okay, what's my final score here? If this is the first one of these kind of videos you're watching of mine, what I'm doing is, prior to the Super Bowl, is each one of these videos I will end by giving a point total 1 to 5 in favor of whichever team I feel like this matchup is in favor of. So you see, for Hurts' first Super Bowl video, I gave +3 Eagles. For Fangio versus Mahomes, I gave +3 Chiefs. Here, for Saquon Barkley, I am giving +2 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Ultimately, I do think the Chiefs, they have a history of, even in big games, being able to really limit the rushing attack. I don't think this is a team that, for example, if it's, if the Eagles need to run out the clock at the end of the game, I think the Chiefs have a chance at getting a stop and forcing the Eagles to punt. I do. I think really why you still have to give the matchup advantage to the Philadelphia Eagles is because in doing that, they're going to have to put so much pressure that it can allow things to open up down the field. And they have guys who can take advantage of that down the field, and I still think the Eagles could be able to, win there. I also think I'm not banking on a 70-yard touchdown. It could happen, but I'm not banking on it because the Chiefs do have enough corners who can tackle, enough safeties who can tackle, and that's why it's just +2, not higher. But again, that's just how I feel going in. I'm going to be surprised about stuff once the Super Bowl happens, but those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.